Hey, welcome to another episode of Random Things with BK. And today we're going to do a little bit of rust remediation on my Jeep. And when people say rust remediation, they're generally talking about like fixing body parts and that. But in this case, I just have a bit of my coating that has flaked off of my winch plate and a little spot on my bumper. And to keep it from getting worse, I'm gonna fix it up. Now, because these are not giant spots, I'm not gonna sand them all down and all that because I don't want to repaint the whole bumper. So I'm gonna use a metal prep which will neutralize the rust. And the particular brand that I use is POR 15. And then I'm gonna use that, neutralize the rust just in those spots, and then we're going to take some etching primer, which I'll show you in a few minutes, and we're going to touch it up so that we get good adhesion. And then we're going to use some trim black, which is an automotive paint as well, and will hold up to the UV, and we're going to touch that up so that these spots will just be kind of cleaned up. And you could use this even in fixing like paint chips and things like that where you have some rust. And get the color match paint, and then you could touch up small spots without having to do a large amount of work. So we're going to get started. To use the metal prep, if we're doing this on a bigger surface, we pour this like into a bucket or something, but we're just going to need a little bit. So I'm just going to pour a small amount in this bowl. And because we're doing very small spots, I like to use Q-tips to do this so I can be a little more precise. And with this metal prep, what we're going to do is we're just going to rub it on this rust area. And we've got to keep the areas we rub it on wet for about 20 minutes. So we'll time lapse this video a bit, but I'm just going to keep doing this. I might even come in, and if I got some on the painted area, it's not going to hurt it, but I'll just kind of rub it off a little bit. And you can see how that spot is wet, and I'm just going to keep it wet. Same thing with that little spot down there. And we'll just keep doing this for the next little bit, and then I will show you how it turns out before we prime it. Okay, so now I've neutralized the rust following the directions on the metal prep. And the next part is I need to clean the area with water. The metal prep is actually water soluble. So I'm just gonna kind of scrub it. And as you can see, all the flaky rust is gone. And actually a lot of the rust is gone. And I'm just gonna do this because I want to get that metal prep off of my surface here. And then I'm gonna take a dry cloth. I'm gonna dry it up. And now she's ready for some etching primer. All right. So, we're gonna go over here because I don't want to spray paint right here because I don't want to get it on my paint. So I'm gonna spray some paint onto my Q-tips over here on my plastic piece, and then I'll come over here and start doing my touch-ups, okay? Now, one important thing when you're using an automotive paint is, or any paint really, is you want to make sure it's good and mixed. So we're gonna give it a good shake. I've already shaken this up previous, but it's been sitting for a minute, so I'm gonna give it a good shake. I'm gonna take my Q-tip and give it a good coat. See, as much on there as I can. And I'll take this over here, and I'm just gonna dab it into. This tends to work better with dabbing than brushing, I've found. So I want to cover that whole area good. Get it worked in there. If it quits putting paint on, just go spray some more. Like right now it's starting to get sticky, so I'm gonna go get some more. Again, I'm just gonna work it into that area, get a good coat on it. Depending on how it goes, we may probably will do 2 coats. This one again in these little 2 spots. Make sure we got it good and covered. Now this etching primer is really cool because it will actually eat a little bit down into the metal, and which gives a really good bonding surface for our top coat, the trim black. So it's important to use a good primer, especially when you're fixing rust, because you don't want that rust to come back, and you really want that paint to adhere to whatever you're putting it on. So we're going to give this this etching primer dries really fast. We're going to give it a couple of minutes, and then we're going to come back and do a second coat of it just to make sure we're good and coated, and then we'll do the top coat. All right, so I'm just going to dab on the second coat here, just to make sure that we have good coverage. Putting it on there, get a little more dab here, a little more there. Okay, we're gonna let this dry for just a second, and then, but while we're doing that, we're gonna go ahead and shake up our top coat, and we'll be right back. All right, so now we're just gonna follow the same procedure. We're gonna start dabbing on the trim black, and this will actually probably take a couple of coats to get it all the way we want it. But you see, I'm just kind of putting it in those areas, and then again down here we're going to do the same thing, just blotting it on, and you see it already starting to disappear. And we'll give just a couple seconds in between each one, and we'll come back and put another one on. And see, as you put that second coat on, it starts to blend in really good. And I'm probably gonna go just one more. All right, and as you can see, if you're up really close, you can still see the area where the powder coating chipped off, because that's a lot thicker than the touch-up paint that I'm putting on. But from back away, you can't tell at all. And also, I'm not gonna have continued rust problems in those areas, which would have spread to other parts of the bumper. So that's my main concern, but also I think it, it looks pretty good the way it comes out like this. So you can do this. I'm using trim black because of just my black bumper powder coat here. But if I was doing the same thing to a rock chip on my hood, then I would have gotten the color match paint from my Jeep and done the same process, but use the color match for my vehicle. And you can get all of these products at your local automotive paint supply, not like O'Reilly's or AutoZone or that type of thing, but you'll have like an English Color, or it could be a different one out there that would have all of these supplies. And I highly recommend getting the automotive paint supplies because they're designed to hold up and have a lasting repair versus it just coming back real soon. So I really hope this was helpful. You can start fixing all your rock chips and door chips and all of that on your vehicle without hardly any trouble at all, and pretty much anybody can do it. If you have any comments, please leave them down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and we hope you have a wonderful day.